David, the late breaking news, if you will, we've been talking about it now for about the last hour and a half or so. This decision by Charles Milliard, you may have heard the clip on the news, to not welcome Marwah Rizqy back to the Liberal fold. He touched on the investigations that are still ongoing. Were you surprised by this decision today or not?
I was not, because actually I think he had already sent some signals he was heading in that direction. There was a huge profile on Charles Milliard. I know you saw it. It was in La Presse Plus on Sunday. And when asked about the situation, he didn't go into details, but he did say two very important things. He said, one of my top priorities is the cohesion of the team. And two, I will always put the team, before any individual, regardless if they can make or not a great speech, or they have a lot of public speaking chops, and so that kind of really clearly sent a message of where he was going. Good on him for making this decision very quickly. One way or the other, at least the Band-Aid is off. Journalists are going to move on to something else, and he can start talking about what his plan is to turning around Quebec. And that's, I think, the most important thing here.
So my question then would be, let's assume at some point this investigation comes to an end and, I don't know, she is cleared of any wrongdoing. Is that just an open door to then say, well, okay, that's over with, we'd like her back in the party, or is that ship sailed?
You've got a lot of things going on here. Okay, it's not one thing. First of all, since the Judge Fournier's report, the internal Quebec Liberal Party report, there are these allegations turned right at Marwah Rizqy's writing office about ethical questions being raised. And so now you have the ethics commissioner of the National Assembly looking into that. So that's one thing. Two, there's an Elections Quebec report on the actions of the Quebec Liberals that's due out. We don't know when. There's the UPAC report, and there's the lawsuit. There's Geneviève Hayes' lawsuit. And so this session is ending early June. I doubt that all four of these will be all wrapped up. It's possible, if there's an out-of-court settlement and all of these inquiries show that there's nothing. But beyond that, let's remember, the biggest problem with Marwah Rizqy, especially with a lot of members of the Liberal caucus, but also the Liberal Party, a lot of members as well, is the way Marwah Rizqy went about, putting that in the public sphere, the way she acted with Pablo Rodriguez, with Geneviève Hayes, the firing. There's also that is a big problem. Now, for Charles Milliard, he's saying, well, look, there's all these different inquiries and investigations and a lawsuit against Marwah Rizqy. The best thing to do is to keep her on the sidelines, which is the right decision, in my opinion. But beyond that, there's also the fact that Marwah Rizqy was not a very popular MNA to begin with within the caucus, even before all of this happened in November. And also, let's face it, there's still some lingering questions. I'm the first to ask them about why she acted the way she did, because even in her court filings to respond to Geneviève Hayes' lawsuit, you don't see the type of burning fire that we thought there would be when she created the whole media spectacle in mid-November of last year.
All right. I wonder, the first thing I thought, David, when I saw this today, and I understand your explanation, and I mean, it makes sense, I guess, when you consider that above all, there is an investigation still ongoing. My question I asked was, is this a self-inflicted wound? I guess we can say no.
You mean a self-inflicted wound?
Well, self-inflicted, yeah. Self-inflicted in the sense that a lot of people, it's funny, you describe what it was like in the party. I think to those of us on the outside, we kind of look at Marwah Rizqy and go, you know what, she's kind of been the face of the Provincial Liberal Party in the House, standing up, making her case, good talker, whatever. So kind of a different approach, I guess, from the inside to the outside.
Well, yes, when you put it like that. But again, poll after poll after poll, let's remember this. I get that Marwah Rizqy was a very visible member of the Liberals. He was a very skilled parliamentarian, no doubt about it. And a lot of the press in Quebec City, followed her very closely and gave her a lot of visibility. But at the same time, let's remember way back when Dominique Anglade resigned the leadership of Liberals back in 22 and in 23, when there was a lot of speculation that she might consider a run for the leadership herself. There was a lot of polling being done. And I remember there was a Leger poll, and she was in single digits, and she was consistently in single digits. She just did not have that type of popular support. And even Jean-Marc Léger of Léger Marketing, saying very clearly, she is primarily a media phenomenon. I'm quoting Jean-Marc Léger here, who knows a few things about polls. She just does not have the type of popular support in terms of voting intentions that you might think.
Okay.
And also looking forward, for Charles Milliard, he's not touched by this. So he wants to turn the page, and the best way to turn the page and move on to his issues is to put this behind him.
In other words, just as you said, just move on. All right, let me get to the other issue today, big one, federally. Matt Genereux, who apparently has spent enough time with his family that he wants to now get back into politics, has in fact left the Conservatives to join the federal Liberals.
Yeah, but there's already in what he said today, so spending time with his family during the holidays did it? Oh, no, it was the speech in Davos in January. So there was, but, I don't know the man, but just from my experience seeing a lot of people in provincial and federal politics go through this, unfortunately. When you make a decision, like he made last fall, saying, you know what, I'm leaving the Conservative Party, sitting in an independent, then you say you're going to resign as an MP. You turn around and you look at the reality. Maybe and I'm totally speculating here, but generally speaking, there aren't that many $200,000 a year jobs waiting for you when you're, an opposition MP and going back to your writing after doing what you did to your previous political party. And so maybe there's something there as well, because he got also an advisor position with the Prime Minister. It's not clear what he's going to advise him on, but there might be a pay bump there as well. But let's face it, for him, maybe he just saw, the fact that going on as MP with the government is a good thing for his family as well, from a purely, monetary perspective.
If you had to, and I'm going to wrap it up on this, David, but if you had to guess, would you guess when he first decided to walk away, to resign, there were already talks going on with the Liberals?
You got to think that the talks had begun.
Okay.
I mean, he had, he's from the previous, he's a moderate conservative. He clearly didn't see his future with the Poilievre way of running things over there. So you got to think that there have been ongoing conversations, and ultimately got to an announcement we had today.
I lied. I said we'd wrap up. I just want to ask one last thing here, and that's, we heard François Legault today come out and say the medical specialist is simply asking too much. 17% increase. Where's this going?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the lamest of the lame duck premiers that you can have. He's announced that he's leaving. He won't be the premier on April 12th anymore. His party you can't get any lower than no seats if there were an election held tomorrow. So the thing is that this is not important. I think the real reaction is that I want to hear on that front is from Christine Fréchette, because she's clearly in the leader's position and for the race to succeed to François Legault. And we'll see. Fréchette has already shown with the third link and on immigration that she's her own person. She's already broken off from François Legault. So I think the person to follow here on this file and many others is to find out where Christine Fréchette is, and that's where you'll have the real orientation of this government.
David, we leave it at that. I appreciate you coming on today.
My pleasure,
Take
sir.
care.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.